Hey, everybody, welcome to the tech capital of the world, Kernersville, North Carolina, where we dodged a major snowstorm. So glad that we have power and heat today. Kevin, how is it your way, man? How's the ice looking?
2 minutes down the road, it's not so bad. No, it's all right. It's icy. No, it's icy. We didn't get snow, so we're not getting all that stuff that's going up to, New England and New York and that kind of stuff. So we're south of that, but it's like we're between that line where it's if anybody's never had this, freezing rain is way worse than snow if it's bad, right?
Yeah.
If you get like a quarter inch or a half inch of like ice on everything, it like shuts the place down.
Tears down power lines. I mean,
takes down power lines. Yeah. So enough to say this, that if we do jump off here just all of a sudden today, it's a power issue. So we apologize.
That's because some tree fell over on a power line. So,
Exactly. So we were talking about this morning. In my neighborhood, the lines are buried, but like when it gets to a certain point down the street, they're not, right? So they come out of the ground and they go up on a pole and they go down the street, and it just takes a tree to hit them. That's it.
I mean, when you drive around and start noticing them, like, it's just amazing, like, why we don't bury power lines here in the U.S. to this date. It's 2021, people.
I haven't looked into this, but the only thing I can assume is that it's cheap. We're talking about it maybe being like a unionized thing, and I get that too. That could be a total thing. But my guess is it's cheap to put up a pole and hang a wire on it. It's expensive to dig it into the ground. That's my guess. Yeah. Because there's thousands of workers here now trying to like fix lines that are going to come down, because they are going to come down today. It's just whether we're going to get the ones that come down or not.
But right now it's all good. So we're all
right now it's all good. So we're here. Yep. So we're here, and it's cool to see so many of you guys coming back. I don't know if we say this enough, but like I see your guys' comments here, and I start to recognize all of your guys' names because a lot of you guys come back, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna do a few comments first because I like this. A couple of our channel sponsors first. One being John here, so he wanted to just give us a thank you. Says that your booking channel really nailed it. So thank you, John. Thank you for being a channel member. I'm glad we added value. I'm glad we helped you. I put up a post on our community page yesterday from a comment from before where somebody just came on and said, hey, thanks for help. I love that stuff. I think it's the best thing when one of you guys takes the advice and it works out.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Another one of our channel members too, BK. Thanks for being a channel member, BK.
What's up, BK?
Well, we're all having a great day.
I just gotta say, man, we'll talk about WandaVision tomorrow, BK, when it comes out.
Is it? Oh, how many more episodes you got left of that? A couple?
I think there's 8 or 9. I'm not really sure how many there are, but I know that tomorrow is 7.
Okay.
So I can't wait.
Yeah, I caught up with it. I still really dislike the sitcom parts, but I do like the other parts.
It's so good. For me, it's
like, the other parts are really good, and the sitcom parts, I just can't get along with them. I don't laugh at any of it, and I think I'm supposed to.
I don't think it's meant to be funny.
Is it not any of it though? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. I don't like it though. I know that. So let's just say hey to a few.
Getting the vibe of what they're trying to do, like
maybe I'm receiving it correctly.
Uncomfortable, like
yeah. Maybe that's the thing. So, hey, Walter, thanks for coming back. We appreciate it. Andreas, good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a minute.
What's up, Andreas?
Let's see. Lorderson with a nautical. Ahoy there, mates.
Ahoy there, mates.
Quix is back. Thanks, Quix.
What's up, Quix?
Actually, Andreas has his hand up. You have a question, Andreas? Put it in. I'll do it before we talk about anything. Lots of people here. I see some newer people, too. Orlando Rose is here. Bebek is here now. I will get to questions here in a minute. Bebek, how do I still with one language? We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to queue it up. But I'll answer your question first. I promise. Yep. Let's see. Troy's back. Ben's back. Power goes 3 mile. Yeah, it sucks when the power goes out. It's the worst. It's okay when it's summer and the power goes out, right? When the power goes out in winter, it's like it's the worst.
I don't know.
I'll tell you, after I talked this morning, though, I did order a power supply. One of those things.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the Thank you for the tacos today.
Yes, we appreciate it.
By the way, I think Kevin, I have I'm going to do a review of the taco joint in Kernersville.
Yeah.
I think I should do that. Taco Casa Miguel.
So I haven't been there yet. It's down the street from me, and I've seen it, and it's a new place, and I've seen it, and I know Jason, our instructor, like loves this place, right? He's raved about this place. So I do need to check it out.
I mean, like, it's literally what you expect. It's on the side of a gas station in Kernersville, North Carolina. It's a little hole in the wall, but like if you like legit tacos, not Taco Bell. We're talking things with radishes.
Right, not
good.
Taco Bell. Exactly, legit.
Really
Legit tacos. I like whenever I go out to the West Coast. If you go to like San Diego, like they have the best tacos. The best, just like Tex-Mex style food or like Mexican food, like Southwest food, like just super good out there. Super good. There's a place, and I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but it's in Old San Diego, which is kind of a little bit of a touristy like bit of San Diego. But there's a restaurant there. Best burrito I've had in my life. So good. Okay. So good. The Mexican food there is amazing. The West has it right. Alex says it must not be good if I don't go. So I'll tell you the reason I don't go, Alex. I'm still on the lockdown side of things. I'll order food in, but I can't get it from there to order in, but I won't go out anywhere yet. So when I can, I'm totally gonna check it out. I've driven past it and I've been tempted.
Okay.
Totally been tempted.
Alex, what are you saying, man? You don't trust my taco reviews, Alex? Come on, man.
Right.
It's legit.
Like, come on. Yeah, like come on.
He's just you know what it is? I know Alex's game now. He's determined that I'm gonna send him some tacos from this place. That's what he's thinking.
If he says they suck,
I see what you're doing.
He thinks he's
what you're doing, Alex.
Tacos. Come on. I mean, Alex lives in New York. He has the best options for food ever. Like I can't
everything's close.
I can't
to
eat
New York.
enough.
I don't know
everything. Like I can't eat enough when I'm there. It's good stuff.
I do wonder if he's ever been to John's on Bleecker Street. Alex, tell us in the thing.
Yeah. Have you ever been there? We've both been at different times. Robbie and I have both been. But I don't know about you, but I like that place, but I like Capizzi better.
Capizzi is really good.
I just think Capizzi's better. I think it's just a better pizza place, which is, I don't know. It doesn't get as many good ratings, but I think it's good. So Alex, let us know.
Capizzi right off Town Square is good. I will tell a quick story about that because I remember when we took the whole team, we were in New York and took the whole team out to eat. And I had sold this Capizzi really hard. And so we get in there, and I'm looking at you specifically. You take one bite and you go, that is good. In other words, like, you were
like, it lived up.
Coming in like, how good can pizza be?
Right. Exactly. How good can pizza be? Exactly. Like, is it really that good? I don't know. And I will say, every time I've been back since, we've gone there. So last time I went, my wife and I went, and we took, we just went for the weekend. We saw a show. We saw Book of Mormon, which was awesome. And then we went to Capizzi. I was like, there's a million pizza places here, but this one, I just like this place. It's just a good place.
It's a good place. That and John's on Bleecker.
He's never been. Alex, you should go to both. Both.
You should go to both. I promise you'll never. It's really good.
And they're on your doorstep. I know there's a lot of pizza choices there, but Okay, off the topic of pizza. Let's talk about pizza.
Right?
Enough
tacos and pizza. Thank you, NC17 Hero, for buying us lunch today. We appreciate it.
Totally appreciate it. And hey, look, Danny's here too, hanging out with us for a minute. I don't know if he's still here. He might have gone, actually.
All right, cool.
Thanks for hanging out, Danny.
Next week, Danny. So I'm getting ready for next week and his big Memphis show. So I'll be there teaching C#. So hit Danny on Twitter. I don't know all the details. I'm just showing up, but figure out if you want to apply and go to it. It's a Memphis hangout, basically a meetup, and I'm going to be teaching .NET. But we're going to do more than just Hello World. So if you want to see how .NET 5 Core was working, we're going to build a whole movie site in 45 minutes.
Ooh, ambitious. I like it.
So I think it'll be fun though. So I think and there's some surprises I have in my app that I think everyone will like. So
I've seen them.
Anyway, it should be fun. Should be fun.
I've seen them. I like them. They're good. Did you get your haircut? I don't even. Did you get a haircut?
I did get a haircut.
Did you get a haircut? I didn't even know she got a haircut.
That's a little high and tight action. So,
Oh, that's funny.
So I'm lucky to still have hair, so that's what's good. I'm glad.
Right, exactly. Okay, let's talk about one thing before we get to questions. And the one thing I want to talk about is we're we saw an article on Free Code Camp, which we thought was interesting and thought was a good jumping off point to talk about something. And it was this. So, why you need soft skills as a software developer and how to improve them. We're not going to go into the article really, but we'll use it as just like as a topic for us to talk about, because we've talked about this a bit before, and you have some strong opinions on this, right?
I have some super strong opinions on it, and I think that it directly relates to your ability to earn a living. And when people talk about 10x developers or rockstar developers, they're always good communicators. So here's the unknown secret about software developers and how they sometimes come across. All right. So sometimes a lot of us are, and it's in my book, Breaking the Code, being a grumpy coder guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we're coding and we're so into our world that when the business comes around and asks us a question like, hey, how far are you along, or what's going on, or you get out of that zone and it makes you kind of like a little bit huffy and puffy, a little grumpy.
Right.
But the guy that can, or the person, the girl, the lady, whatever, that can communicate accurately to the business stakeholders, the project stakeholders, they'll pay them next to anything. If you can go out and be the person that can describe the product and build it, you're the person that can also give comfort and hope to the project stakeholders that, hey, we're going to build this, it's going to be amazing, and it's going to happen, and this is what we're doing to build it. If you can also make them comfort with technology, explaining like technical things in a low-tech way, that puts you above and beyond everyone. The second thing I think in this article talks about this is empathy, which is empathize with the salesperson, empathize with the business leader, empathize with the project department, even if they're mean to you. Empathize on what they're trying to do. They're just trying to sell the thing that you're trying to build. And so like have a little bit of empathy sometimes when they're kind of like grumpy themselves or they're coming at you. And a lot of times you have these wars between sales and IT, or project ownership and IT. And so a lot of times you have to bridge that gap. The technical person that can do that can communicate well, is going to make a lot of money. They always do.
Right.
Maybe not at the current company you're at, but like you'll get to a situation where they'll highly value that. They're the ones, the technical guy is the one that can communicate, is the one that's at the conference or at the trade show, or, he's helping sales sell things. He's helping the drive requirements for the business. He's also helping the business leaders understand the types of things they need to be building. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll sit there and just take orders from the business, right, wrong, or indifferent. I've seen a lot of coders do that, like, whatever you want, boss. And that's not what they're looking for, man. They're looking for you to help them drive it forward. So anyway, I think that being a great communicator is so highly undervalued that I can't imagine. It's literally between sitting in a cube your whole life wearing headphones and coding versus, moving up in the company. And
being the guy that sort of gets known, right? And that's not to say that you can't be a coder that sits in a cube with headphones on all day and make $100,000, because you can. That's also a thing,
right? But
you're never going to reach that. You're never going to be the guy that somebody's like, oh yeah, that guy. We want to hire that guy because he was like the rock star at that company. Yeah. You're not going to get headhunted if you're that guy, because you're not putting yourself out there. You don't have those soft skills.
Yeah. Right now, I would say it even extends all the way into Twitter, extends into LinkedIn, and like a lot of times, if you're getting into flame wars on Twitter, all you're doing is hurting your career long term. I think it's putting a cap on your earnings long term. If you're that person that's out there, and prime example is Danny Thomas. If you look at Danny Thomas's Twitter feed, he's always out there providing value. He's always positive. He's always pushing the positive vibes out in the universe, and I think that will allow him to do bigger things than he's doing right now, which he's doing great. So
definitely,
so like
somebody else
emulate that.
Right.
That's new
too. Alex is doing it right. And again, just in this one case, he's empathizing with the things, but he's totally doing it right too. The fact that Alex is a coder, he has a YouTube channel, he uses Twitter. He gave me my invite to Clubhouse. Thank you, Alex. One of the greatest apps I've ever used. I've had a ton of fun and learned a massive amount on it from some really, really high-end people on there. It's been the access you get on Clubhouse is super, super good. So thank you for the invite, Alex. But Alex is totally doing the right things, and you're going to see big things from him very, very soon. I guarantee it.
Yep. Yeah. So that's good.
Yep. There's another comment. Look too. Bob Jones just wanted to say thanks. And his job in development. So keep what we're doing.
Cool. Thank you, man.
That's awesome. Right, congrats. Cool. That's very, very cool. When do you start? Awesome. Let us know. What are you going to be doing? We're interested.
Yeah. What you building? Yeah, that's kind of cool.
There you go. Somebody else saying congrats. So yeah, let's go. Congrats, Bob Jones. I love it. That's very cool. This is my favorite comments. They really are. I love it when people come back. We're like,
I know,
yeah.
It's like
this is so good.
Job, and we've helped them in some small way or a large way or wherever. We get to participate. It's amazing that.
And it generally is a small way. It's generally just like you've taken one little nugget of advice that you just weren't doing before. Nobody's following. Generally, nobody comes in here with no idea and they take all of our ideas and run with it. You generally come here with you sort of got something already, and we're giving you that last little piece to kind of push you over the edge. Right.
Not to pitch the book though, but I think that the book and the 5-step book is like, I don't know why people haven't written 1,000 books about what I wrote about, but like, it really is like unique advice. And I'm working on something else that we're gonna add to that. We'll push it out on YouTube when we get it pushed out into Coder Foundry at large, and then I start seeing the impact of that. The interview technique. So I got another one that I think is going to be amazing.
It's killer. I like it. So, you talk to me, I'm like, oh, it's genius. So I'm like, oh yes,
I want to save
it
for a video and like break it down. It's so good. So like, but I think if you're looking at, if you've already learned how to code, the book is kind of cool in that it lays out the 5 steps, or you can just go to our YouTube channel. They're pretty much all on there. I mean, like our YouTube channel is all put together to help you find that first software job. So that's kind of what we want to do. That's our goal.
Yep.
Help you out.
Yep. Okay. If you guys have questions, we'll do Q&A. Throw them in chat.
Yeah.
And I will get to them. I've been queuing up a bunch. I see you guys have been putting them. If you already put them in there, I got them. I've queued them up and we'll go through them. I just want to talk about this one thing first, though. Ben's question here. So it's because it's on topic what we're talking about. So it says he likes helping people and sharing info. Do you think making video content is necessary? I know you guys make a lot of videos, but I love writing. It's not necessary.
No, it's not necessary to have a YouTube channel, Ben, but I think blogging is genius. And you did it and it helped you get a job. So you know that firsthand, like writing, having a Medium account or a DevTO account, or just running your own blog. I think everyone should run their own blog. I think writing is great.
Yep.
So
if you already love writing, roll with the writing. Don't do something that you don't want to do because you'll quit doing it. I'll tell you the reason we do video is because not only do we want to share the info, but we also enjoy making video. So that's why the medium of video works for us on YouTube. If we enjoyed writing, we would have a blog. That would be no debate for us. We just enjoy making video. So it's just the medium we choose to communicate in. That's it.
Yeah, and just to let you know, Ben, like Kevin obviously comes from a video background, and then a little bit about me. I'm self-taught, but I made tons of videos and short films and things like that before I even did what I'm doing right now. And so, like, when we got Kevin in here, that was just the goal. It was always the goal. Let's use it, man. See what we can do. So we like making content. It's kind of fun.
Definitely. And we were making video content before we were making YouTube content too. We were doing sort of commercial style video content, more about marketing stuff for the bootcamp, and then we decided that we want to make sure that we can help as many people as possible, because the bootcamp was helping people, right? We saw people's life change through the bootcamp. And we were doing these testimonial videos where somebody would come on camera and cry because they got the job that day or whatever it was, and it was like marketing gold, but it was like it's just this one person, and it's like we need to help more people. So like, let's just give everything away on YouTube. Let's just make the videos and just tell everybody about it. And that's why we ended up here.
And whether they come to the bootcamp or not, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, we just want you to break into this industry. And I think, Ben, you can help people with your writing for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yep, I agree. Certainly. Okay. Let's do some questions then.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to jump on this one first. It's not in the correct order, but I'm going to go back to the front here. But this one just came in. So,
Yeah.
Reg wants to know: is it worth it to join Lambda school? Like, need to pay? I guess that's what's that? $15,000 I get. I have to get the job, or just being self-taught on Udemy, YouTube, etc. I want to commit to this field though.
You can come to Coder Foundry for your 15 grand.
We're not going to tell you anything horrible about Lambda School, but definitely do your research. We're not going to do your research. Another bootcamp, but do your research.
I will tell you the major difference between us and Lambda is Lambda's teaching a different stack than we are. I can't vouch for how they do it or anything like that. I've never taken the class. I've never secret shopped it, so I don't know internally, but I do know that you're going to learn pretty much if you're in web dev, you're going to learn full stack React, I believe, right now, whereas we're going to teach you full stack .NET. Pricing between us and Lambda's, it's sort of similar. We're a little bit less expensive, but that shouldn't be your primary judge between the two schools. I think that 15 grand to get a job is not a bad deal. I mean, when you compare it to college. However,
right.
$0 and self-taught on Udemy and YouTube, you can do it. It's just that you've got to be that person that can just be your own motivator. You got to assemble your own curriculum. You've got to do all those things. And what we believe is immersive is the way to go. And we think that everyone needs a teacher, a coach, or a mentor to help them get into this. That's what we think. We think it's the best way to do it. So without being a whole commercial on here, I think bootcamps really help you get it gives you kind of focus in a certain amount of time. It makes you commit to blocks and blocks of hours. One thing you will do at Coder Foundry is you'll work every day for 12 weeks. So 8 hours a day. So that kind of immersion is how we think it's best to learn. But doesn't mean you can't go self-taught route. Doesn't mean you can't attend another YouTube channel and watch other stuff and become a developer. So yeah, I do think the biggest thing that you need to do, whether you go to Lambda School, Coder Foundry, or you're at Udemy, is you've got to build projects that are your own, that aren't based on some kind of tutorial, that you can just construct and build. I think that's the key. And we do that at Coder Foundry.
Yep, 100%. I put a tweet out on our Coder Foundry account about this morning, actually, talking about the 3 ways to learn to code. Them being university, bootcamp, self-taught. University being taking a long time, very expensive, but prestigious. A bootcamp being middle of the road in terms of cost, still expensive, but not as expensive as college. But it's the fastest way to do it, and you get structure. Being self-paced, the slowest could take you a year, depending on how many hours you're going to put in. It's unstructured, but it's also the cheapest. And it comes down to personal choice. I'm not saying it's free, because it's not. Chances are you'll end up buying a course along the way, but it's relatively free. It's almost free.
Yep. I hope that helps, Reg, and so hope it helps out.
Ben also says, and this is great advice, Ben, this goes for anything. You take out a loan, make sure you know what the APR is on that loan. That just goes for anything. So when we have people coming into our bootcamp, you get 3 options to pay. You get a loan, you get an ISA, or you get cash. Obviously, the cheapest one that's going to be to you is cash, because there's no interest. There's no interest on it. You just pay for it, right? But not everybody can afford it. Yes, loans have APRs in them. Obviously, depends on your credit rating. You got to watch out for that. And then the ISA, of course, you pay back a percentage, so you can end up paying more. That's just how it is. We tell people, if you can take an ISA, it's like you have to understand. If you can take a loan, you have to understand what you're actually paying back. We put out an ISA calculator for ours. We said, hey, go figure out exactly what it's going to cost you. We want to be very, very transparent about that.
Yeah, we're super transparent. Pretty much our ISA is 15% of your income. And if you're do the math, there's also a cap on it, 25K. But if you're making somewhere in the neighborhood north of 40 grand over a lifetime of 3 years, 36 payments, you're going to pay 25K to come to Coder Foundry. The same thing holds true for Lambda. Lambda has a little bit more of a threshold, 50, but their top end is 30. So either way, you're going to pay somewhere between 25 and 30. Now, if you only make 40K, you'll pay around 18,000 for the class. And so that's similar to a loan of $15,000 loan with 8% on it.
Right.
Something like that. But with interest rates low today, you might can get something even lower than 8 point. I'm not sure yet.
Exactly.
Definitely,
Yeah,
home
I don't know,
equity would
actually.
be. Yeah, home equity was around 2. So like
Right.
if you can get a home equity loan and do it that way, that's kind of cool.
Right. That's it. Exactly.
So like there's lots of ways to do it. I think the main thing is once you go in, whether you take out a loan or ISA or whatever, is fully commit to what you're trying to do so that you can take advantage of while you're spending the money, actually break in.
Yeah. Don't spend it and then regret doing it.
Class. Yeah. And don't regret doing it. Don't waste 3 months of your life at a boot camp and not put in maximum effort and not build the projects and not attend, which happens a lot. And then you end up wasting your money.
Yes.
So
we've 100% seen that. And then we just feel bad because what you're going to do. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do. Like, so. Yeah. All right, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so Babek, we'll get to your question. So how do I stick, and thank you for the question, and thanks for watching. How do I stick with one language?
Okay, so I think this is fairly easy to do. The first thing you need to do is figure out what you want to build. All right. And what kind of job am I going to get with what I want to build? So I think there's 3 major ways right now, potentially 4, but let's just talk about the 3 major ones. You have mobile, you have web, and you have desktop. You also can have data science. Okay. Web extends into things like backend services and a lot of other kind of architecture things like that. But let's just stay very high level. I want to build web, I want to build mobile, I want to build desktop, I want to build data science. That's going to drive what language you need to learn. You do not need to learn the language that is easiest to learn or what people say the beautiful syntax if it's not going to lead to employment. Okay. So you should not learn Python if you want to build websites as someone that's breaking in. You learn Python pretty much predominantly to go after a data science role. I know you can build websites with Python. I'm not saying that people don't. I'm just saying when you compare the pure job market of web development with Python versus web development with C# or Java or JavaScript, those markets dwarf PHP development in web. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means that what I wanted to do, you're talking to me as a junior. I haven't broken in. I've never held a job as this. And so you need to find the most in-demand stack that gives you the broadest opportunities that you can get and then go after that instead of trying to narrow it down to saying, okay, there's these 25 PHP roles in my city. I'm going to go after those 25. And then every senior PHP person is applying for those. It's harder to break in versus if you're in a .NET stack, there may be 150 or 200 opportunities in your city or, 15,000 nationwide. And so you have a broader audience to get into that. So that's what we think. So pick what you want to learn. And then once you've picked out what you want to learn, say web development, pick the stack, the one language that you want to learn, and stay with that until you can build a project. Once you're building a project with it, then show it to an employer. And that's how you do it. And you just stay with it, man. Once you pick it, you just don't change. Don't look at the wind when you're trying to get stuff out.
You're telling me not to chase that. You're telling me not to chase that crazy white rabbit because
yeah, exactly.
There's a new one every week, right? That's the problem.
I know.
It's like go and look on any of these, like any developer blog or anything, or look on DevTO or something. There's a new thing literally every week that someone's chasing. And like you said, you may get to a point where you can chase them, right? You can start looking at some new things, but it's not when you're starting out.
When you see these guys saying, hey, learn Svelte now, they're already working. They already have a job. And I'm not saying you can't learn it. I'm just saying that clearly, if you're going to chase a JavaScript framework, React's the one to chase. I mean, like it's dominant on there. And I know there's a lot of guys, I make money in Angular. I get it. I totally get it, but pick one of them and just stick with it until you get a job in that language,
Actually, that reminds me about
it's really not a language. It's more like a framework of things that you're going to build with. So when you're talking about JavaScript, we're really talking about, I want to build sites with whatever framework that it is, React. When we're talking about C#, we're really talking about ASP.NET and building it that way, or Blazor. So there's a lot. It's more than just the language. It's the frameworks around it that you're going to build with.
That reminds me of a poll I put out this morning too, by the way, which I can pull up here.
Okay, let's look it out. Let's check it out.
I asked, we're up to 491 votes, so just shy of 500, asking if you're choosing one front-end framework today, which is it? and you guys overwhelmingly chose almost 70% React.
Yes.
So yeah.
So clearly that's and then so like, but it doesn't mean those others aren't valid. It doesn't mean that. But if you're just going to break in, you got to pick something. Pick the most popular thing, the most in-demand tech that you can, and just go after a job that way, and then branch out from there. Anyway, hope that helps.
Okay.
And we already got 2 downvotes, Kevin. What's up, man?
Do we? Who downvotes these? I was talking to somebody on Twitter this morning about getting downvotes on videos. It was funny. I was like, yeah, and somebody shows up to our videos and like downvotes them all the time. I was like, they do realize that's an interaction point, right? A downvote's as good as an upvote, so I'll totally take it. But hey, if you guys do want to go and upvote it, that would be awesome.
Just give us an upvote, man.
I totally appreciate it. I'm like,
I guess they don't like us talking about pizza or tacos, Kevin. I guess
somebody doesn't like us. That's okay. I'm okay with somebody not liking me. That's fine. It doesn't keep me awake at night. I promise. It does. No, it doesn't. Okay. Quix has a question. Thanks for joining us, Quix. Says, funniest, weirdest comment that you've seen in production app code base. You seen anything strange?
I've seen
some people that have worked
at strange.
Some people that have worked at.
So I've seen strange where clauses. I worked with a guy that always would write his where clause till the cows come home, like in a while statement. While cows not home. So it always like had to go think about what. Okay, I'm going to run this till the cows come home. Basically, what he's saying. So.
Okay. That's
no, I've had some very like personal comments as you run a company and you have programmers working for you. Sometimes you'll get in the co-pace and like they're complaining like in the comment like Bobby asked me to do this and he sucks and like I hate him and like blah blah blah.
That's
and
hilarious.
Like it's just like diagraphs of like his ranting against me in the co-base, which is kind of funny.
That's funny.
So I had to call him out and say, hey, man, let's just, I know you don't like doing it, but like, that's not helping anyone.
That's funny. I'm surprised there's not been, I'm surprised you've not come across hidden jokes in there, being some of the people that I know that worked at Cortex. I'm surprised there's not been some hidden jokes in there.
Lots of them.
Okay, I guess there has to be. I know these guys. There has to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny.
Okay, I like the till the cows come home. Let me see. Let's go to this one next tier. The Nana Addy Show. I think I looked up your channel once, actually.
Okay, cool.
So Henry from Ghana, what do you suggest I start doing after a degree in business information technology?
Once you get a job, I mean, so like, can you take that degree and get into a role somewhere? So I don't know what business information technology degree means. I don't understand that. I mean, you're in a different country. I can guess. But if it's more on the management side, then that's the kind of roles you're looking for: a PM role, project management role, business analyst role. If you're a coder and they taught you how to code in business information technology, then you're going after a coding role. But start applying for those. I think it's going to lean you towards business analyst, project manager type roles. And then that pushes you into leadership. So, all right, hope that helps. So that's kind of cool.
Okay, let's go to the next one here. Oh, and
remember super chat us if you want to guarantee get in. I know there's a bunch of them coming in. So,
yeah, I got them all queued up. N17 Hero, best cook I've ever saw. It's 5 p.m. Friday. I should be at the pub. Where did my life go wrong? As somebody clearly bitter about having to do the work that they're doing at that point in time. It's funny.
Yeah. I was meeting one time. I was on a production site we were converting a mainframe site over to a .NET site, and I can remember talking to one of the older devs on it. And I'm not going to name names because they may be watching, but they had this database that was in DB2, and like one of the columns was we were trying to convert data over to SQL, and we're like, dude, what's up with this column? This thing is like just random information. He goes, yeah, I know. When things would go wrong, I would just hard code the values in this column, And so like we just had this column, and I would just hard code it, and I'm like, well, yeah, you could put a comment somewhere about that, because like then we had to like investigate this one column and try to like determine like what the crap it meant, you know, and it was just like impossible to convert. So like, it's kind of funny. That was the guy. It's 5 p.m. on a Friday. I'm just going to change the value.
Yeah, it's just exactly. I'm not going to actually like fix it correctly. I'm just going to fix it.
I'm not going to fix it at all, man. Now it's on the screen right. It's supposed to be 17, but it's not. So anyway,
crazy.
Kind of funny. It does happen.
Okay, another question. Got a grad bro. Okay, I don't know. Got a grad bro? I don't think is that a thing. Okay. When you started coding, what methods did you use? What methods did you use to remember everything? That's a great question, actually.
So this is a good question. This is a great question. I think this is a common misconception. Like somehow I have .NET memorized. Here's what I think you need to know, and I don't know if you can get to this today, but here's my advice: is start asking yourself the question, "What am I trying to do?" And that is the number one question you can ask yourself when you're trying to write code is, what am I trying to do? Break that problem down into pseudocode. And then eventually you're going to have a lot of go-to things that you use a lot that you can just type in. Like I know how to like declare a public class, for example, you know how to do that, but you need to think in terms of what do I need to do and patterns of development versus trying to memorize everything, because you never will. And I think a lot of people that try to memorize a language they just don't do very well. So what am I trying to do? Does that require me to write a loop? Yes.
You're just filling your head.
How do I write a loop in C#, Java, JavaScript? Okay, I can't remember. All right, go Google that. And a lot of times the IDEs will help you finish those statements for you. So like, don't try to memorize everything. Try to understand what you're trying to build and the mechanics to get there. And then the syntax will fall out.
Yep, I think it's trying to, for me with that kind of stuff, it's always trying to, as long as I can understand that something is possible, then I can figure it out, right? It's the same with video editing. It's just exactly the same skill set. I don't remember everything in Premiere. I don't. If I want to do something particular, I'll be like, oh, I know I can do that. I'll just look it up. I'll go watch a video or I'll go Google it. Be like, what was that thing again? I haven't used it for like a year. Like, what was that again? I'll go look it up.
Right.
And then I'll be like, oh yeah, okay. I knew I can do it. And it's just knowing the fact for what is possible and then just figuring it out from there.
I think, for example, would be like in video editing, it says, how do I do a whip pan? And you're like, I don't know. How do they do those cool whip pans?
Exactly.
We
like,
use
I've done one of those
pans
for a
all the
minute.
time on our site. You had to go look it up and go like, okay, now I know how to do that.
Exactly.
But if you didn't do it for 6 months, you might have to go back and go back to that video and look at it again.
I know I would.
So like,
I totally would. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Exactly the same thing. Yeah.
All right. Cool. I hope that helps.
Okay. Let's see. N17 Hero says, out of interest, I went to a camp open event in London, was shocked that none of the trainers had commercial experience. It's hard to teach coding for a job if you've not done it professionally. Can be.
Yeah. We're not that way. So everyone that works here has built stuff. So like, that's just how I hire. I can't speak for every bootcamp out there. Now there is some benefit to going through Coder Foundry as a bootcamp and then becoming an instructor though. Because a lot of times I have to retrain people how we do it versus how they've done it professionally. So you can be a great teacher without doing it professionally though. I think you can be. It is two different skills. Just because you're a fantastic coder does not make you a good teacher.
Definitely doesn't.
So, yeah. So
and the other way around too, I guess too. If you're a fantastic teacher, you're not necessarily going to be a great coder, which is why we've got super lucky with the people that we have.
Yeah, and so
really
the question is, are you committed to your craft? Are you trying to get better? And so like a lot of times, even some that came through the program and they end up teaching here, I'm constantly pushing them to build things and do stuff like that. So because they need to get better at what they do. And then I question some of the techniques that we use sometimes, like, why do we do that way? I think one of the conversations I had yesterday with the instructors, like, what's interesting, a view component and injecting things in a page and view models. Like, so what's the difference? When should we do that with partial views? When should you use view components? And when we should inject stuff right in the page? And so like I was asking them to like come up with the what fors for each one of those things.
Right. Because you want to teach all three of those, you just need to figure out the best way to teach them.
Well, even then, if we're not teaching it, we need to like understand, like, in other words, like at Coder Foundry, we're not just like hello world. We're trying to figure out like, what's the best way to do this at this point, at the time that we have, with the information we have. So, but you know, sometimes teachers are just good at teaching and they know how to code, and they don't necessarily how to code a job. But
yeah, I gotta say,
I think it does help.
My college class that I took when I did PHP, the guy was a great coder, not a great teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
He just couldn't explain things very well, but he could do the stuff really well. He was a professional, adjunct. He was an adjunct, right? So he's a guy who worked in the field, but was not the best teacher. So, and no fault of his own. Like, that just wasn't his superpower. And I guess the college couldn't get anybody else to teach it.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
All right, thanks, N17. Thanks, man.
Okay, Ram, let's talk about GameStop real quick. Nah, we won't. Let's go to Foundry is mostly a C# focused bootcamp. You guys also teach stuff related to front-end, HTML, CSS, and
so we're a full stack bootcamp. So currently right now, we teach HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We're using vanilla JavaScript, CSS. We're using Bootstrap, HTML5. Obviously, we're doing all of those things because you can't build a website without them. So that's necessary, and you can throw in SQL too. So we call it the 5 things, fluent in 5. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SQL, and C#. That's the 5 things we teach at the bootcamp. C# is our server-side language that we focus on, and we're building it with ASP.NET. So
I guess what you see with a lot of boot camps is you'll see them like you have to differentiate yourself generally based on that backend language, right? Because that's where they all differ.
Yes.
Most of them are the same up front. Every one of them will teach you HTML, CSS, and JavaScript because it's essential.
Right.
But then they differ on after that, right? A lot of them, exactly. A lot of times you'll differ on whatever the backend language is. And then also sometimes the database part, right? Most I think are SQL, but some aren't. We'll teach you a NoSQL database. So
we're doing SQL, relational SQL right now still. All right. We're also teaching Git. We're also teaching you how to publish to Heroku and Netlify. So like all those CI/CD things that we're doing, we're also doing that as well. So we cover a lot of things in 12 weeks.
Definitely a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, Truix, thank you for the question. Says, interesting. Why is it that Harvard released a CS50 course for web development and they teach Python in it? Why not C#?
I have no idea. You'd have to ask them why they do it.
Yeah, don't really know why.
If they say it's easier to teach, then it's the wrong way. That's the wrong reason to do it.
Which is probably that's the reason a lot of people say. A lot of people say that they're like, "Well, I teach Python or I learned Python because it's the easiest thing to learn," and that's probably true. And it probably is easy to teach concepts, right? So if you're teaching somebody how to loop over something, right? Maybe Python's an easy way to teach somebody to do that, to teach them the concept using an actual language, whereas it's not as easy in other languages. So I guess from a perspective of it's not from the get a job perspective, it's the how to learn to code perspective, which are 2 very different things.
Right.
So they're teaching it probably from the learn to code perspective. They want you to come out of there saying like, I know how to code and I understand all these concepts because they're more computer science focused. They're not focused in the get a job part of it. I guarantee they're not.
Right.
It's Harvard. You have enough behind you with the Harvard name to go get a job. You're at the top of a list. You know, it's prestigious.
Yeah, so I don't know. You'd have to ask them why they picked that. I don't know. So, anyway, good question, though.
It is interesting, yeah. I would be interested to know what their background to that is.
I mean, there's no way in this world that Harvard could possibly be wrong, right, Kevin? I mean, there's no way that they could made a bad choice.
Well, no. I mean, ultimately, they're going to be right because, again, like I said, if you go to a job and you're like, I graduated from Harvard, they're like, it doesn't matter what you learn. Like, you graduated from Harvard. Like, it is prestigious. You do have this like perceived aura around you that you did something spectacular. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way that it is. That's good or bad. That's just how it is. I'm sure they have lots of things they teach there that aren't the best. There's probably a better degree than you'll get at Harvard, but again, it has prestige with it, so it's just that's how it is. Yeah. I don't know. Never been. It's not a slam on Harvard.
If you can get into Harvard for technology, I think you should just go to MIT and be done with it.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, go to Harvard to be a lawyer.
Right. Or a politician. Because
CS50 is free, though. We know that the CS50 is free.
Which is great. I do. The fact that they put it out there is awesome. It is awesome. It's a very cool thing. I don't know how long it is to do the whole thing. And they keep updating it too, I think, right? They do the current semesters like lectures, I think. So it's an interesting take. I do like the fact they put it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, N17 here has another question. What are your thoughts on commercial uptake of Blazor over the next 12 to 18 months? Is it going to start grabbing a share from React, or it's EX? Am I blanking on that? I mean, to be something else.
Yeah, I don't know, no, but like
No.
I think he's just saying, hey, is Blazor going to be a thing in the next 12, 18 months? My advice is yes, 100%. I think it will be. In fact, if you read through what Microsoft's talking about now, they're talking about Blazor on the desktop with .NET MAUI, which is really going to be .NET 6 that comes out at the end of the year. And so they have humongous plans for Blazor. Will they win? I don't know. I mean, but like what I've said before is when you look at React, you look at Angular, those two being the big hitters, one from Facebook, one from Google. The competing way to do that, that's similar to that, is Blazor. That's Microsoft's answer to building a SPI application, a SPA application. When you look at ASP.NET in its current iteration, you're looking at like things that built around the forms, around the postback. That is probably very super mainstream right now, comparable to JSP, those things. But as people move over to trying to build like fully kind of JavaScripty front ends, and then they communicate to the back end with some kind of service, that's the Blazor is the answer to how they do it with React and how they do it with Angular, and that's what Microsoft's going to like be pushing out. And they're innovating on the platform too, so it's not like they're just pushing it out and hope you take it. They're pushing it out, and then they're continually innovating on this to make it better, to do all those things. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty big. I think a lot of people will, as rewrites come up, and they're looking at like a classic ASP, or they're looking at an MVC 5, not to do pre-core applications, and they're going to do that in 2021. Blazor is going to be on that list of technologies they're going to choose from. So I think that's, I think it's going to be pretty big. So we'll see.
Cool. Okay. Where are we here? Lamda Rose wants to know, if you could no longer live in the tech capital of the world, your hometown, Gainesville, North Carolina, or the tech spot would you consider living in?
Probably if I moved, it'd be based on something that had no state tax. So that puts me in Texas, Tennessee, or Florida.
Yeah.
Then I throw in Universal Studios in Orlando and those kind of things, and then it's
Florida
weather, and then Florida's kind of cool. Tennessee is great; it's in the mountains, it's beautiful there. Texas, you could be there, you could get to the big city. If you went to Austin or Dallas or Houston.
I think if you're going to pick a tech spot out of those, Austin's kind of a tech spot. So you could do that.
Yeah, it's kind of very techy.
There's no real like tech spot in Florida that I'm aware of. Not one that stands out anyway. I don't know about.
It's like any other place, man. Like there's stuff to happen.
It's true. No, I'm sure there's definitely stuff happening there, but you never hear of like you never hear of there being like a tech hub in Florida. It's like, you really don't. I don't know if there is. That's not anything against Florida.
Yeah.
I like.
But North Carolina, man. I mean, it's growing. I mean, it's kind of cool, the types of companies that are moving into North Carolina. North Carolina's kind of in that middle tax state range. Like we're not super expensive. We're not the free ones like the other ones. So we're in the middle. And then universities are great. Obviously, Coder Foundry's here, the best bootcamp in the world. I mean, but like we say that jokingly, yeah. But like so like there's a lot of opportunities going here. A lot of banking that goes on inside of Charlotte, Raleigh. And then where we're at is the Triad, which is Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and Kershaw.
Property taxes are very low here. From when I came down from Ohio down to North Carolina, property taxes are definitely lower. Yeah. But I will say owning a car here is expensive. Road tax is very expensive. Yeah. I know because I just did my taxes and I spent like $1,000 in car tax last year. I'm like, that's $1,000 a year. Like property tax expensive.
Yeah, but housing's cheaper compared to
cheaper.
Some of the other, like New York or California for sure.
Oh, it's not even close. It's not even close.
Not even close.
anybody outside of the US, living in the US is because it's such a big country, it's very, very different in different places. So you'll hear a lot of things about like it being very expensive to live here, and it is very expensive if you live in New York and live in California. Outside of that, it can be very, very cheap. I mean, $1 million in New York gets you like a studio apartment, I think, if you're buying it, right? And most people don't buy them.
Right.
But in Kernersville, North Carolina, $1 million is going to get you a McMansion. I mean,
it's going to get you a mansion.
You know, it just is.
Exactly.
That's,
where mom and dad get their own wing, you know, like
exactly.
You don't have to see them and you live in the
exactly. You get the 5-car garage. Yes. Like, I mean, that's it will get you that here.
It's fancy.
Okay. Restless Tinkerer, thank you for the question. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. As someone who's not a good graphic designer at all, I'm looking for a logo design. You have any luck with a particular freelance site for logos, Fiverr, Freelancer, etc.? Did you do your own logo, Restless Tinkerer, I'm wondering? Your own YouTube logo? Because that's
personally, I have not.
I haven't either, because I always just do my own.
I personally, even though when I've pushed it out, it always comes back and I don't like it. But I'm not a graphic designer by trade, but I do spend a lot of time working in Photoshop and Illustrator and just making stuff. So it could be that, you know, I have an eye for what I want. I think the first iteration of the Coder Foundry logo I built, and then a graphic designer that we had on staff in here kind of made it better, which he did. You know, but it's mostly the same. I mean, like, you know, but it's like he improved it to a great deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of things. I wouldn't call myself a graphic designer. A lot of people's asked me to make a logo. The problem with me is I'm not skilled enough to like just dream it up. Typically I have an idea and then I can make it. So when someone comes to me with, hey, can you build this thing for me? If I don't have an idea immediately, no. Right. I'm not going to make it because I just don't have one, you know. So just to tell you my thought process, Coder Foundry was built off of an Anvil. And so I looked for a font that had a flat E on it. I don't know why I looked for that, but I wanted there to be a straight line across the top of the letters and it looked like sort of like an Anvil. Because that was the initial idea. It was like a foundry and an Anvil and you're banging stuff out and we create coders here. So that was my thought process. And then I knew what I was looking for. And then I happened to come across this font that had that sweet flat E on the top, and I built it around that.
Yep. And then it became, and then the iterations from there.
Pretty simple.
Exactly, and then it just iterated from there into everything that we have now, including our CF brand that we have now is based on that same idea and same thing.
Yeah. You guys take it and ran it, and then now we have a CF mark. I didn't make that, but like, and then initially it was distressed, and then it came away, and it was like now it's like solid because you and Jeff hated distressed and like it doesn't print well and like
it just went out of trend. That was all. It was trendy when you did it, and then it just goes out of trend. So you do have to move with the market. That's the other thing too. If you're going to do branding, you definitely have to move with what's cool and what's not. If you're going to be trendy, you have to make sure that when it becomes untrendy, you also move, because you'll be seen to be like, you know, behind. You don't want to be behind.
And I think by the end of it, just to let you know, Russell, like I don't know why we're talking about the Coder logo or how I got on this, but like at the end of it, I think you guys even like we went through, and that's not even a font anymore. It's just a image.
Yeah, it's not a font.
Like, yeah, there's like they customized the C, the O, the D, they kept the E, and then they changed the kerning, the spacing, the height, and all that.
Exactly.
Kind of stuff.
So as a font, it had some issues in terms of kerning and leading. It wasn't right. The spacing wasn't correct.
And the C, the way it wraps around the O is Illustrator. Like,
the C wasn't. It was kind of weird because the C wasn't a version of the O, and it ended up looking weird. The C wrapped weird. You're right. It came to a weird angle. So we took the O and repurposed it to make a C so it would match. And it so we did and Jeff did all that work. We worked together on it, but he did all the nitty gritty stuff on it. So shout out to Jeff for the awesome work.
So it looks good. But unfortunately, no, the short answer or the long answer to that is I've not had a good chance. But dude, I'm sure there's a freelancer out there that could like crank it out. The question is price, timing, whatever. I mean, our Coder Foundry logo took it. I would say it iterated over a couple of months or maybe a year.
Yep.
But we're still tinkering around with it.
Yep.
So
definitely. Yep. Oh, here we go. He said, so he did this one when I thought it was going to be a woodworking type of channel. Yeah, your branding there isn't bad though. Definitely
It's kind of
not.
cool.
But,
And so now you went from woodworking to coding. That's funny.
to coding.
That's
so
cool.
yeah, you need a different brand for coding. Definitely, it does now. That, yeah, I mean, obviously, it's got a tree on it and a saw. It doesn't really work for coding. So yeah,
I like the name though.
have to change
Restless Tinkler is a great coding name in general. So I think that's great.
It is definitely, and that's the cool thing. Actually, it does work for both.
Yeah, it does work for both.
It totally works. Totally works. Okay, we've got
All right,
5
cool.
minutes
So we're
left
running up here. 5 minutes. Hit us on Super Chat if you want in. So otherwise, Kevin, run down the list. Let's see if we can get a couple more in.
I'm going. Let's go. Ram has a question. Good idea to be a full stack developer as a junior dev, or should we niche it down to just front end or back end until we land our first job? Good question, Ram.
I think the best thing, Ram, is to hit full stack right away. I think it gives you a better opportunity to win. And I think front end is I think mistakenly thinking, oh, that's easier. I don't think it's easier. I just think it's different.
We have to know more about it, right? If you're a front end developer, you better be an expert in those things. Like you better be a CSS genius, right? You got to know, and you better be good with front end. I
think you need to be somewhat of a graphic designer to really realize your full potential.
Yep.
So they're going to ask you a lot of things around being a front end. So I would say full stack is the way to roll. And most jobs are looking for someone who can do both anyway. So, but I think you'll have more opportunities by doing that.
And if you do know both, the other good part of that is it doesn't stop you from applying for front end jobs. That's the other thing as well. You get to apply for both. So you get to apply for everything. If it's just a back end job, go for that because you know some of the front end too. Because it is one of those things. I think there's a misconception where if you're just front end, you're never going to have to deal with anything on the back end, and that I don't think that's true. Right? That's
not true at all.
You're gonna have to deal with some of it.
You got
to hook it all up, right? Yeah, exactly. Yep. Okay. Oh, it's a good question from Carol here. Thank you for the question, Carol. I don't recognize your names. This might be your first question, so thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Carol.
What not obvious abilities would you require from a person you hire as a junior web dev? What would make you think that this guy or gal somehow is better than these other 200 candidates?
So I'm going to tell you the secret, and it's in the book, and it's not what I would do, but definitely, man, if you have a portfolio with a business class project on it that you can demo during an interview, you're going to stand out above those 200 candidates 100%. So show that you can build something and show that you can talk about that something. Relate your interview technical questions to the code and demo it. So one of the examples of, I think one of our students went out to an interview. He said it wasn't going very well. And then the guy asked him, what is MVC? And he says, let me show you the answer to that. And he showed him his code and it got into the second level once he started demoing. And so I think that is the secret, is to having a portfolio that you can demo during an interview will set you apart way above the other 200 candidates for sure. Hope that helps.
And at the end of the day, you're looking for like what work they can produce too, right? So when you have a portfolio, you really care about can they code and are they going to produce good work?
Right. And then if you can talk about it, that shows your ability to communicate. It shows your ability to explain complex projects in a simple way. All those skills go into you being a great developer, a great teammate, and a great person to work at that company. So that's my advice. Hope it helps, man.
Okay. I don't know if that's an actual name, and I apologize if it is, but Vickle. I'm just going to go with Vickle. I'm calling you that. All right. I hope that's okay. Good question though. What is .NET? It's a great question.
So .NET is a framework that Microsoft has put out. The language that you use to access the framework is C#. And so the .NET framework gives you a lot of built-in things. For example, a string libraries that you can manipulate strings with. It gives you a lot of things that are built in, and that's why people like it. It's a very wide and broad framework of things that allow you to build things. And the .NET framework works on Windows and it works on web applications. It works in mobile. All of those things can be purposed and used for it to help you. So that's what it does.
Yeah, it's all of these things.
All of those things wrapped up in one framework. And now they're increasingly making it work on cross-platform. So it's really, really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. It's deep.
It's a lot to it. And that's why people use it. I mean, if you come to Danny's meetup next, I think it's February 24th, then you can watch it in action and see how I'm using the .NET framework and C# and all of these things to build a website. So I think it'd be cool. All right, cool. Okay. It's 1 o'clock. One for the road, Kevin.
Yep, let's do one more here. Let me see here. Let me see. Gotta grab bro. I just started college and I want to get into an internship soon. What can I do to increase my chances?
I think you need to build something to show during the interview. I've said it a couple times today. So like build a project and build a portfolio so that you can have a way to set yourself apart from other people applying for these internships. So that's what I would do.
Because you'll find, especially for an internship, right, you'll find most people are not going to show up with projects. They're not going to show up with a portfolio.
They're not going to show up with anything.
They're just not. They're just going to show up expecting to get the internship. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in college and I'm studying this, and therefore you should hire me or put me in the internship because I'm in the school. But if you're in the school plus you're building things on the side, that's the way to do it.
Yep. It's going to be way more impressive. Way more impressive. Let's do one last thing here real quick. Turk says, hello, if I use designs of websites, it's cheating as it gets me into bad habits. I'm assuming you're talking about copying, basically?
Templates? Nah, man, use templates, man. Dude, if you're not a graphic designer and you're not a CSS expert, use templates. That's why they sell them. Get you a theme forest account. That's not cheating. It doesn't get you into bad habits. I don't understand. It doesn't help you at all. You don't have to build the front end from scratch to be coding. In fact, a lot of times, when you're on a project internally and they don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the front end, as far as like just grab a template and carve it up and let's get going on the nuts and bolts of what we're trying to build. So I think you definitely can use a template and you'll be okay. Be fine. I use them all the time. All right, cool. Well, thanks for watching out for us. Again, we want to thank you to our recent Super Chats NC17 Hero, who's our lunch sponsor for the day, Kevin.
Yes.
You did a good job there. Thank
you. We appreciate it.
I'm going to Taco Casa Miguel right now. And I'm going to spend my $6.92 on tacos.
Awesome. We'll talk about it next Tuesday then. We'll see, we get your taco review next Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing too is Kevin's launched a new channel for us called YouTube Shorts. We're going to classify our YouTube Shorts there. It's in its infancy, so you can go to YouTube and search it up if you want to see some of our under 60-second videos and an easy way for you to consume them. And then they're not mixed in with our longer form video, the live show, and the other stuff we're making.
Yeah, I'm going to push all the short stuff over there. It's not so shorts aren't officially launched in the US yet, technically. So we're kind of ahead of the game a little bit. Yeah. So I'm going to keep pushing a bunch of short stuff there. So yeah, look out for our real short stuff over there. It is a separate channel for right now. I'm going to probably post to both, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll figure that out. But go subscribe over there too. That would be awesome if you guys did to get me off the ground there. That'll help with with pushing those short videos out too. So yeah, I
think we had 3 subs there this morning. It launched this morning. So me, you, and mom subscribe.
Maybe. I've done 0 promotion on it yet. So I'm gonna keep building. I'm gonna put up a video a day, I think, initially, and then we'll see where we go from there. That's the kind of plan. Yeah. So yeah, I like the idea of shorts. Just gives you one little quick nugget of little something. It's not long form like this one's going to be. You can come back and watch this one tomorrow for an hour if you want.
All right, cool. All right, thanks for watching. Good luck. Keep coding. We'll see you Tuesday.
Catch you guys later.